see your vibes. Liberté, c'est ce que j'ai besoin de vivre. L'égalité, donnez-moi mot à l'avenir.
Bonsoir à toutes et à tous. Ça fait vraiment plaisir d'être en contact.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Monsieur le Hardy, nous sommes très heureux d'être là ce soir afin d'échanger avec vous. Nous sommes les jeunes de la Task Force Waka. On représente un peu l'essentiel de la communauté Waka. Nous sommes venus échanger avec vous sur des points qui nous intéressent en tant que jeunes leaders, en tant que jeunes décideurs, en tant que jeunes qui s'intéressent aux questions des droits des filles. Notre panel est bilingue. Donc, on a sur l'expression en anglais et sur l'expression française. Donc, du coup, je vais commencer, je vais me présenter. Je suis Cédric Noukié, ambassadeur des droits des filles au plan international WACA. Et ça fait 1 an que je suis activiste engagé pour la question des droits des filles. Et pour les 16 jours d'activisme avec l'équipe de la Task Force WACA, nous sommes mobilisés et nous avons apporté un contenu pour les 16 jours d'activisme afin de marquer d'une pièce de ces 16 jours d'activisme impactant. Alors, pour ce faire, chacun de nous, parmi ces jeunes, chacun va prendre la parole pour discuter avec vous sur des points qui l'intéressent, pour discuter avec vous sur des points de jeunes dans la zone WACA. Ainsi dit, je vais inviter ma copanéliste à prendre la parole.
Bonsoir Cédric. Alors moi c'est Charstine Kodo, je suis athlète béninoise de karaté-do. Je suis une championne de karaté, voilà. Et à part cela, je suis biologiste de formation. J'ai fait l'analyse biomédicale. Et je suis également bénévole au sein de l'ONG Filles du Monde. C'est une ONG qui promet le droit des filles, des adolescents, en passant par des sensibilisations. Voilà un peu moi, voilà Chestine.
Ça fait vraiment plaisir et c'est vraiment bien de voir que vous donnez un exemple là, en ce que le sport et ce type de sport, les gens affectent ça, attribuent ça souvent aux garçons ou aux hommes. Et je suis très fier de vous, de voir que vous portez ce flambeau-là et vous montrez que les choses ne sont pas limitées, que l'on soit femme ou homme. On tient seulement, on saisit seulement les opportunités et on avance. Donc, vous avez totalement le pouvoir de transformer votre monde et je suis très fier d'être en contact avec vous.
D'accord. Amira, are you there?
Oh, I'm so happy to have you here, Ardi. Thank you so much and welcome. My name is Amira Catherine Koroma. I am from Sierra Leone, and I'm the founder and executive director of Smart Women's Initiative, which is an organization that works with female survivors of sexual and domestic violence, including rape. And interestingly, we're the first and only organization in impaired female survivors. And this means that currently we're the only organization that is providing free sign language training to partner organizations in order for female survivors who are speech and hearing impaired to access these services. I am so happy and I'm so happy to have a meeting with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and it's great to be in touch with you, and congratulations for the amazing work you are doing. I have been in Sierra Leone several times. I know the challenges in that context, and having young people, young girls and women driving the change agenda is so powerful. Thanks for that.
Okay, thanks Sue.
It's a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Okay, for our discussion, we have said that we have chosen that we are not alone to ask a question to you. right? So that this needs to be an exchange, not an exercise of question and answer.
Yeah, I have plenty of questions for you, so let's get into it.
Okay, thanks. So we will start our exchange by this question. Durant la période de COVID-19, on s'est rendu compte qu'il y a eu une envolée des violences conjugales. Comment est-ce qu'on peut expliquer cette envolée de violences conjugales durant la période de COVID-19?
Je voudrais d'abord vous remercier pour l'initiative que vous prenez de créer cet espace. Et d'abord, chacun de vous, pour ce que vous faites dans vos contextes, pour changer le monde autour de vous, pour faire en sorte que vous ne soyez pas en fait des participants qui regardent juste ce qui se passe autour d'eux, mais vous êtes des agents de changement dans votre contexte. Et je voudrais vous remercier pour cela. Et dire que Plan International s'est donné comme mission de pouvoir accompagner les dynamiques des enfants et des jeunes, et notamment des filles, des jeunes femmes, pour faire en sorte que nous puissions transformer de façon durable le monde qui est autour de nous. Vous avez parlé de COVID-19, qui est une crise globale qui a surpris le monde entier. Et cette crise a interrogé les systèmes du monde. Et malheureusement, lorsque nous traversons cette crise, on se rend compte que le fait que les gens n'aient pas pu se déplacer ou bouger de leur lieu de résidence, etc., ça a occasionné beaucoup plus de dommages pour les femmes et les filles. Parce que lorsqu'il y a les confinements et les restrictions de voyage, etc., on a vu que ce soit dans des contextes qui sont ordinairement stables que dans les contextes qui sont hautement complexes avec des urgences que nous avons dans la région. Vous connaissez le contexte du Sahel, vous connaissez le contexte au niveau du lac Tchad, au niveau de l'Afrique centrale, etc. Donc, nous avons vu un certain accroissement de ces niveaux de violence dû certainement au fait que les gens ont vécu ensemble pendant un long moment et ça a généré un certain nombre d'impacts négatifs. Nous avons de façon prompte toutes nos équipes à travers la région et dans le monde entier. Nous avons focalisé sur cette dimension-là de notre travail pour comprendre ce qui se passe et surtout pour apporter des appuis à tous les niveaux où nous travaillons, que ce soit au niveau communautaire, au niveau national, etc. Vous avez entendu parler de Youth Challenge Fund, par exemple, qui est une initiative mise en place pour soutenir des actions portées par des jeunes comme vous, pour faire en sorte qu'on puisse être nombreux à se mobiliser contre ces violences-là. Nous avons fait une étude au niveau global pour comprendre un peu plus la portée de ces questions de violence. Et vous avez certainement appris que cette étude a ciblé près de 14 000 filles et jeunes femmes dans 22 pays. Et ce que nous avons remarqué, c'est que la plupart de ces filles qui ont été interrogées, plus de la moitié de ces filles ont été harcelées, non pas seulement dans les contextes où elles sont, mais aussi en ligne. Donc, il y a la question de violence au niveau des ménages et des contextes dans lesquels les gens sont. Mais ce qui est encore plus préoccupant aujourd'hui, c'est la question de la violence faite aux femmes et aux filles en ligne. Et nous avons lancé une campagne mondiale que nous avons appelée Free to be Online pour pouvoir mobiliser les acteurs autour de ce fléau-là. Donc, il y a en fait cette remarque que vous avez observée par rapport à l'accroissement de ce fléau-là, qui est dû certainement au fait que les gens sont restés ensemble pendant un moment, mais il faut reconnaître que les facteurs de base demeurent les mêmes, demeurent ces facteurs de normes sociales, etc., qui se sont exacerbés en faveur de cette crise mondiale. Mais plan international, comme vous l'avez si bien dit tout à l'heure, s'est mobilisé fortement pour dire non à ça. Et nous ne voulons pas nous limiter aux 16 jours d'activisme. Nous voulons simplement que les 16 jours d'activisme soient simplement un moment de mobilisation qui donne le ton pour d'autres actions et des actions beaucoup plus durables pour mettre fin à ce fléau.
Merci, Monsieur Hadji, pour cet échange. Je vais passer la parole à Amira.
Okay. I just wish I could understand French, so I could be in this conversation that you just had.
Maybe I can summarize what I said in French, if that will be helpful.
I'll be happy, sir. Yes, I'll be happy. So the conversation will not take a different turn.
Yeah, in fact, the question was why we saw an increase in terms of the gender-based violence cases across our region during the lockdown due to COVID-19 crisis. And what I said is the fact that we saw that in many contexts across the region, not only in stable countries, but we saw that mainly as well in countries where we are dealing with multiple crises in humanitarian settings. And what we did is, first of all, to understand the key drivers of those cases in each of the contexts through our teams across the region, and also through the partners and young people's association and networks we are working with. And that helped as well our teams across the region to really put in place targeted actions to support our communities with different types of initiatives. And I mentioned among them the Youth Challenge Fund, which is a huge initiative we set up to really target what we are calling young people collective actions to transform the world around them. And we also initiated a global research to understand not only what is happening in terms of gender-based violence increase in communities and household level, but what is happening online, because we are talking about COVID-19 and most of us, we are now online. This meeting, we are having this meeting online. So what we realized when we spoke with 14,000 girls and young women in 22 countries, more than 50% of them, they were harassed online, for example. So while we are targeting the gender-based violence issues and cases at community level, at national level, we also need to really have targeted actions online to be able to help all of us to be free to be online. That's why we launched our global campaign we call Free to be Online, which targeted social media companies, networks, many of them. And I'm happy that that campaign is now showing some results already. And we all need to mobilize ourselves to make it successful. I was also saying that we are not limiting our actions during the 16 days of actions against gender-based violence. We really want the 16 days to be a kind of mobilizing space, but we need to go beyond that to really have sustainable actions which can help to transform our world and to make sure that every one of us in all our diversities, we are able to be free and to be valued, to be heard everywhere we are, and free to be everywhere we are. Thanks. I hope that is helpful.
I think
Adi, thank you so much. I do appreciate you taking me through what you have already explained, and I am so pleased and impressed to know that Plan International is focusing on ensuring girls are safe in our society. That is quite a laudable venture. But I'm also concerned because I have been working on gender-based violence issues for almost 5 years now. and 5 years full-time, and on and off, I would say maybe like 6 to 7 years. And but I'm also a survivor as well, so I understand some of the dynamics when it comes to tackling gender-based violence. But like I said in my initial introduction, is we are the only organization in Sierra Leone that focuses on visual, speech, and hearing impaired survivors. I think we should be cognizant of the fact that survivors who are speech and hearing impaired are quite challenged to access not only the services, but to also report. There is basically no reporting mechanism. And currently, Smart Women's Initiative is training partner organizations like the Aberdeen Women's Center, which is a big hospital in Sierra Leone that is funded from one British institution, Rainbow Initiative, which is an NGO, and they also work in similar capacity that Smart Women's Initiative work in. They also provide basic medical services, and we currently also train lawyers. These are a group of women who are legal practitioners in order for our survivors to access all of the services. My question now is, how does PLAN intend to be inclusive? Because sign language is something that is lacking. And all of this information that we pass through information that is not being transcribed into sign language. And this means that survivors who are speech and hearing impaired, basically, they do not understand the issues. That is one. Because like you rightly said when you were giving me an overview of what you discussed, the research that PLAN did in 22 countries, is PLAN actually considering an inclusive approach, which is also inclusive of speech, hearing, and visual impaired? That is my question at this moment.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much. That is so important for us. And the PLAN International approach as a whole is really to ensure that we include the most vulnerable, and making sure that in everything we are doing, those who are the most at risk are at the heart of that. What you are talking about is what I call the integrated approach to dealing with gender-based violence. We are not only looking at the prevention aspect, the communication information aspect, but we should also be able to work with government and to push government to play their role in setting quality and safe services for those who are survivors and those who are at risk. So it's very important, and I'm really happy to see the work you are doing, because this is not something one organization will be successful with. This is something we need to do together to build alliances in order to be successful. So I'm really proud to know that you have different initiatives working with different partners. And I believe if you are in touch with our team in Sierra Leone, we should be able to reflect on what are the missing pieces in that whole work you are doing, and how we will be able to add value in that. So yes, thanks a lot for what you are doing, and I would really encourage you to feel free to reach out to our team there, our country director Évariste, who will be more than happy to engage, to listen, and to really discuss, explore opportunities to work together.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I think I'm really pleased from your response. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Amira, thanks. So it's now to Charlotte to take the floor and ask a question to Adi.
Okay, so my name is Ohini Charlotte. I'm from Ghana, and I'm a student, and I'm also an intern with an NGO. They go into community and youth development. We go into the community and then we teach the students. So my question is, I want to ask if digital technology can be used to provide effective assistance to victims and improve the system of collecting cases of gender-based violence, especially in Africa. Yeah, I said that because of the 16 days of activism that we are doing right now, and it's mostly online. And I was actually not so confident at first because I thought maybe it really needs more contact. So I just want to know your mind about that, what you think about it.
Oh, thank you so much. Let me start congratulating Ghana for the successful recent elections. We are all proud of Ghana to see that Ghana continues to model the way. You are really paving the way, showing how we should be governing our country. So congratulations to the people of Ghana. Yes, how can we use digital in the work we are doing? It's not only in this area, but digital is becoming part of our life. And COVID-19 clearly is showing us that we can't be successful without maximizing the use of digital. So we have been doing several things. We have a platform we are calling Girls Out Loud, which is a platform where girls are meeting online and sharing their experiences, sharing different cases, supporting within the group, and making sure that they are really working together, and also, if needed, making sure that those who are at risk or those who are survivors are also connected to relevant services. So that platform is a global platform we have, and many of the countries in this region are part of that platform. And that platform is increasingly helping to know what is happening in our context and to be able to take action accordingly. We also have several digital solutions so that when we have some harassment online, for example, people can very quickly alert online, and we have those solutions which can help to really move things forward. But I strongly believe that we can do more. I believe that young people can really reflect and create several other solutions, especially in this region. We have a huge potential in terms of digital. We have a huge potential in terms of innovation and creativity. And what I would really love to see is young people coming together and creating some online solutions which will help to resolve the issues we are seeing in our context. So we will be using the global platforms and solutions, but my challenge to each of us is to think about how we are also initiating solutions within our region as a contribution to the wider organization. That will be how powerful, and I'm looking forward to that, maybe from Ghana.
Right, sure.